Welcome everyone to our baccalaureate service. You may remove your caps if you wish and be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone. Members of the class of 2022, families, friends, and colleagues, it is my pleasure to welcome you here today for this beautiful and time-honored Gettysburg College tradition, our annual baccalaureate ceremony. We gather here today on the heels of a whirlwind couple of weeks for you all, between final exams, which you guys will remember, and our mini year-end festivities. It's our hope that tonight's ceremony will serve as an opportunity for you to slow down, to catch your breath, to reflect upon this special milestone in your life and on the people who helped you get here. Tomorrow, you will walk across this stage and receive your diploma. It will undoubtedly be one of the happiest days of your lives. Before too long, I'm confident that the symbol, that diploma, will be hanging on a wall somewhere in your home, proudly displayed as a symbol of all that you have done here and all that you have become. But remember, no accomplishment is ever reached alone. Long before that diploma, I bet there was a crayon drawing, a game of tic-tac-toe, a homemade Mother's Day card that likewise found its way onto your family's refrigerator door, and that was proudly displayed by those who first believed in you and what you could one day become. Again, no great accomplishment is ever reached alone, and today you were joined by the very people who have loved you, who have supported you, who have believed in you on your journey to this moment. They deserve our deepest thanks. Graduates, will you please join me in extending a big round of applause for your parents and loved ones. Thank you. Well, my adult children now are a little bit too old these days to put pictures on their refrigerator, but it's not true for my grandkids. So centrally located in my study is a ceramic lion that my grandson Leo, you get the symbolism here, Leo and I painted in December. And I think before too long, his exhibit will be accompanied by our newest grandson, Ari, who was just born about a month ago. And his birth, of course, was one of enormous excitement for my wife, Susan, and I. And for the parents in the audience, I suspect you had the reaction, if you have multiple kids, that I had when Ari came home to meet his younger brother, Leo. Now, Leo's only 2.5 years old, but suddenly, in contrast to Ari, he seemed so big. So much bigger than he was the day before. Now, of course, he wasn't bigger. It was just he was bigger relative to his brother, who suddenly seemed so grown up. Now, of course, I knew intellectually that Leo hadn't suddenly been growing up. He had been growing up one day at a time, but those changes occurred so gradually and so subtly that it was hard for us to realize it. It was only by changing our frame of reference, by viewing him in relation to his new little brother, that we were able to see that change and appreciate it more fully, all the remarkable changes that had taken place. Graduates, we've been through a challenging couple of years. It would be easy to look back on these COVID years as our second stint of the terrible twos, a window of time filled with struggle, changes, and maybe even the occasional emotional outburst. Yet in doing so, we'd also lose sight to how much progress we have made over that time as individuals and as a community. As the analogy about Leo points out, growth is incremental and change is a process. But if we alter our frame of reference, we can begin to see and appreciate just how far we have come. Class of 2022, we see this growth in you, in your understanding of yourself, in your understanding of the world and how it works, in your ability to see, understand, and care enough about a problem and the people it impacts to step courageously forward and rally to solve it. It is captivating to witness. As you move forward and continue to grow and develop in your life and career, you'll also extend what I will call your radius of radiance. This is the light you share with all those around you and the light you gain in return from those you learn from, your classmates, your colleagues, your friends. When you were young, this radius was small, consisting mainly of your parents and immediate family. Yet with each passing year, as you grew, so did too your radius. You attended school. You joined sports team and music programs. You pursued new activities, and ultimately, you made your way here to Gettysburg College. And together, your class illuminated our campus. Now, upon graduation tomorrow, your radius will grow once more. New communities and new workplaces will benefit from this best version of yourself, the great light you've gained and given here. That is what makes growth possible, even when it's hard to see, even when it is simply one day at a time. Class of 2022, we are so proud of the people you have become. I know this light that you share, this radiance, will be a source of inspiration for everyone you engage and grow alongside with in the years to come. On behalf of all of us here at Gettysburg College, we wish you the very best and look forward to our celebration tomorrow. Again, congratulations, class of 2022. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bright, and I am the Director for Religious and Spiritual Life here at Gettysburg College. Won't you pray with me? Dearest friend, the one who poured the seas, you flung the stars in their vast shimmering constellations, our friend who calls each blade of grass from the ground, the giver of vision for color and style, the bringer of curiosity and fascination. Abide here in this place with us now. Grace us with your loving presence. Amen. As we gather today, let us acknowledge the land for which we stand and the peoples who steward it across generations. Gettysburg College is on unceded indigenous land, including the traditional homeland of the Susquehannock, the Conestoga, Seneca, and Haudenosaunee Confederacy, Lenni Lenape, the Shawnee Nations, and the connections of the indigenous people to this land continue today. We have a responsibility to honor these connections, and we strive to understand our place within the past, present, and future of this indigenous land by reflecting on our relationship with the human and other than human relatives with whom it is shared. Today, as we celebrate together, we remember these family members and friends and our prayers and hold them in our hearts. Let us pray. Ancestors of ages past, because you have lived and we know your names of your people, it is by your love and grace we are here today. Ancestors from the four corners of creation, we invite you into this place. Let the pouring of water be the pouring of our hearts. Let us be silent in your presence. We lament the suffering you knew in this life, but because you lived, we bear your names. Let us create a freer world with wisdom. Let us create justice and love kindness with humility, gratitude, and adoration of the eternal as we walk in your divinely anointed footsteps. Amen. Please stand with me in body or in spirit as we sing our opening hymn. It can be found on page 9 of your program.
Jesus, You may be seated. Good evening, everyone, from the faculty to the family members in the crowd, and to all my fellow students and friends seated before me. Today is a great day. I hope to leave you all with a strong message to keep close to your hearts, without reminding you all of these unprecedented times that I'm sure we've all heard plenty of at this point. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak to all of you because I'm given the opportunity to try and instill in all of us a sense of accomplishment for all that we've achieved. Even though it's a small campus, I know that not everyone here has met me before, so hi, I'm Ethan Kincaid. I'm a political science and international affairs double major with a peace and justice studies minor. And you may have seen me around campus as part of the Ultimate Frisbee team, mock trial, residential education, or a lot of other activities. Just like all my friends and fellow students, we each have a long laundry list of the different activities we've been a part of here at Gettysburg College. I forged my own path to create my own college experience, which allowed me to meet so many amazing people through 4 fast-paced years. I'd be lying if there's not a piece of me that wishes I had more time here on campus, but it's coming time for us to discover what our education here can do for us in the world. But before we talk about the future, let's take a step back in time to something the students and the family will remember from several years ago, move-in day. The heat, the humid residence halls, a room without AC for most of us, and a parent that wanted to take maybe a few too many photos. Do you remember the excitement of it? Being on college, really being a college student. But there's also this curiosity. Some of us were even scared about it. What was going to happen next? For some of us, this was our first time being left alone. And for others, we came in with no clue of a major or what clubs we might join. What came next was ultimately up to you. Nobody has the exact same college experience. But there were moments we all shared together, from convocation to Wingo. For the family in the room, or outside. Wingo, you can talk to your students about this. They probably have strong opinions about it, especially if they've never won, such as myself. But there are also plenty of special events made important by students like us, like how excited all of us got for Chicken Finger Friday at Bullitt, or how the campus came to call President Uliano's inauguration as Bob Day, which made the event way more memorable. For me, nothing compares to the tradition of Servo Thanksgiving, where I got to share a special meal with those who were closest to me. There's just something special about that one chilly evening in November, waiting in line with all of your friends. Every year, I went with the Ultimate Frisbee team. We would share laughs, watching someone attempt to cut the turkey, passing the food around awkwardly, but with so much happiness you would think we were a family. I cannot put a value on the special moments here at Gettysburg. Times with those who matter is something I would never trade anything for. These traditions on this campus are part of the reason all of us came here. And we get excited when it comes time for them to return, like when we became upperclassmen and could wave to the new students during the first year walk, something we experienced not too long ago. Those memories of tradition and fun will stick with us long after we graduate, and will probably be some of our favorite moments looking back. 4 years learning here at Gettysburg College. What are you all going to take away from it? Don't worry, it's rhetorical. I'm not going to cold call one of you about it, though I am sure the faculty here have an idea of what the answer should be. It would not always be the same for each student here, but during these 4 years at Gettysburg College, we've all changed and grown. I remember sitting down and talking to my advisor, Professor Hartzell. Back in the fall, it was my first time really sitting down and having an in-person meeting with her in over a year. Professor Hartzell was one of the first professors I met here at Gettysburg College and helped set me on my way, as I'm sure all your advisors did for you. But when I talked to her as a senior who had tried to do everything I wanted to, and what my outlook was for the rest of my life, she stopped and said, "You've grown so much since you first came here." And that right there is what the education here at Gettysburg College does. It's not only about the equations and the theories you learn in the classroom, although they are still important. It's about how being here, in the community, working inside and outside of the classroom, brings out a side of us that we would not have known otherwise. We've all grown in some way from being here at Gettysburg, and not just by getting older. Whether it's experiences from your Greek organization, to marching band, from the labs in the Science Center, to the baseball field. We've grown and changed for the better, which is why we will always look back so fondly on our time here. We all leave here with the memories, but there's also a part of us that will always stay with Gettysburg because it became our home for an important milestone of our lives. We now prepare to go on to do more great things, whether it's a graduate program, entering the workforce, traveling as part of a Fulbright, and many other opportunities. But it cannot be possible without the things we accomplished here at Gettysburg College. Remember my comment about move-in day a little bit earlier? How we were all so excited, but also a bit scared? We've come right back to it and just never realized it. We've come back to the point where we're going through the doors of Penn Hall, just as we had during convocation, but going the other way as we go on to our new paths. It is time we take that next step into the unknown and forge our own path, our own experience, just as we had when we first started out here, our first year. Thank you.
The Birkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing, was recited in the ancient temple in Jerusalem and appears in the Torah in chapter 6 of the book of Numbers. The Eternal spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, thus are you to bless the children of Israel. Say to them, Yevarecha Adonai v'yishmirecha. May the Eternal bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May the Eternal deal kindly and graciously with you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Eternal bestow favor upon you and grant you peace. So are they to put my name upon the children of Israel, that I myself may bless them."
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Rachel Main, and like Ethan, I'm going to be talking about something similar to memories and kind of our experience here. So welcome. Hope you enjoy the rest of the program. So when writing this, actively thinking about how I was a history major, I chose to write about the past and write about other people's past, and just did a lot of writing for my college career. But when I sat down to write this speech and reflect on the last 4 years, specifically our own history, I was constantly stumped. What did I want to write about? How did I want to frame this? Where would I even start? The blessing of a place like Gettysburg is that there is so much to talk about. And the burden of a place like Gettysburg is that there is so much to talk about. So ultimately, I decided to focus on what I felt the most comfortable with, history, but specifically memories. People tend to share wise advice about living in the present. Don't forget where you come from. Don't think about where you're at. Don't worry about where you're going. All of these things that conflict. But it's true that we should think to our future. However, we should not renounce the joy that we get from thinking back what got us to this point. This point, I'm going to ask you all. I want to take a moment for group reflection. So students, parents, friends, family, faculty, what memories or thoughts come to mind when you think of Gettysburg College? So just take a moment. While this would normally be the part where I ask if anyone would like to share, can you tell I'm going into teaching? I actually already asked the class of 2022 about some of their favorite Gettysburg College memories. When I asked, the responses were as followed. Some of the people thought about going on their first immersion project with CPS, going to get Mr. G's and then taking that on battlefield walks, celebrating the end of a semester's hard work over great food with Professor Hancock. One person remembered going to Servo the day they had the monthly birthday cupcakes, and it actually was their birthday, so Regina kind of turned it into a birthday celebration just for them. Another student recalled joining their sorority and meeting lifelong friends that actually ultimately encouraged them not to transfer after consideration. Some of my favorite memories included having a murder mystery themed dinner this semester with some of my friends from my first year floor, and being able to complete my student teaching experience with some of my most inspiring friends. While listening to these tales, many of us might not be able to relate to these stories as they are very individual, but we do recognize the importance, passion, and connection that allowed all of these events to remain vivid with our individual persons. Sharing these memories also helps us to see one of the strongest facets of Gettysburg College. The common denominator in these moments are the people that make Gettysburg College a community rather than a population, and rather to make the memories that we have now. The people that are the Gettysburg College community are part of why we come here and why we reflect on our time, because it'd be pretty boring to go through a college experience by yourself. One of the easiest ways to visualize the community is through a small narrative about campus life on a nice weather day. Instead of everyone walking around focused on their phones, doing work, there are so many vibrant dynamics happening, especially when you have this nice day weather, as we do right now, thankfully. If you walk up past the sidewalks, through the chapel and onto campus, you'll see so many parts of life going on around you. There are students setting up hammocks to take naps or study or listen to music. Students are setting up signs, talking with microphones, instructing protests. You have faculty, community members, and Res Life staff walking their dogs, big and small. Students are spending time in Adirondack chairs, probably getting a sunburn that they didn't plan on getting. You see students throwing frisbees around, setting up spike ball. You even have people playing their instruments in a coexistence style fashion. So when you think about that visual, it really doesn't sound too much different than any other college campus, but the people and the interactions are what make it unique. I couldn't usually walk across campus without getting like a, hey, what's up, or even just a smile from someone I know. We even have a running joke with one of my friends. Every day we count how many times he stops and says hi to someone or has an unexpected conversation that makes us late to class. You know, it's the small things. The community here is something that has been a quintessential part of my Gettysburg College experience. And honestly, I took it for granted. While we were on Zoom for Quarantine 1 and Quarantine 2, we had our academic careers, and that's what was pushed for us. It didn't feel like there was that community support at all times. And I can't tell you how many times we would talk to other people and say, it's just not the same, and we all knew what that meant. But we were actually able to connect with each other, and we tried so hard, and it's paid off. We got on phone calls and Zooms and worked on group projects, hosted club events, and while it wasn't the same, we all faced our individual challenge, but collectively worked on still being a community that's able to sit here together now. Our senior class has proven that community can and will be sustained through the toughest of obstacles. In the best of conditions, it will thrive. Community supports when there is struggle, provides power when there is a need for change, and joy when there is a time for celebration. This town, this campus, this community, and this senior class is filled with these memories. All of these memories will associate in our minds and hearts. And as we sing, or I've heard other people sing, the alma mater, we will turn our thoughts to alma mater, Gettysburg College, back to thee. So please remember this community as you go off into the new ones that you'll be facing soon. Thank you and congratulations again.
Hello. I would like to recite an ayah in the Quran that has a lot of benefits. Benefits such as protection for weak memory, peace of mind before going to bed, and provides angels to protect you as you're leaving home. And as you are leaving your Gettysburg College home, I would like to recite that. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa, al-hayyul qayyum, la ta'khuduhu sinnatun wa la nawm, له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. Thanks.
Hello, students, family, and faculty. Congratulations to the class of 2022. From my short 4 years here, well, really 2.5 years in person on campus, I can say that I learned a multitude about myself and the world around me. Gettysburg College really does function like a little America. Just because we as students exist within the college bubble doesn't make us exempt or immune from the realities of life. I believe COVID-19 really demonstrated that for us. On campus, the issues of classism, racism, sexism, and LGBTQ phobia still exist like our larger government. And we still have yet to enforce or create adequate policies and procedures to solve these issues. Our college, much like our country, has issues allocating funds to the areas that need them most due to either the lack of listening to sound expertise or really knowing what the students really want and need. Everything Gettysburg College needs to prosper and dominate is already here. We need to actively build a community that is able to comprehensively solve these issues, but also provide an education that nurtures the great minds of tomorrow. You're probably astounded and wonderstruck. Well, I'm not shy, so let me explain exactly what I mean. We need to stop using blanket phrases such as diversity and inclusion and switch to using terms such as equality and equity. Without these, there cannot be any diversity or inclusion. We also need to support our first-gen, non-white students and low-income students better once they are on campus. Every great leader is marked by how they treat those who are oppressed or disenfranchised. We need solid policy that has thorough consequences for those who hurt the individual and the greater community as a whole. Great leaders are not respecters of persons when it comes to justice and holding those around them culpable. We as an educational institution need to be transparent with those who contribute to this institution and community as a whole, whether that be monetarily or through their presence. Every great leader does not withhold important information from those that they are leading. We as an institution need to recognize that not everyone can be a leader, but they may want the position, but very few are equipped and gifted and make the effort to help develop these leaders. Our institution and community leaders need to remember to be humble enough to accept criticism and be wise enough to make the necessary changes when needed and make them as soon as possible for the good of everyone and not just the individual. A great leader also knows when something isn't working to make changes and not allow power to corrupt them. Sometimes as a leader, you have the vision to create something new, but it has no clear blueprint and must use wisdom and knowledge above all else to figure things out as you go with the help of an efficient, honest team. A leader can't always supersede in the footsteps of their predecessors, but should always take into account the history of the actions and the repercussions of the actions of their predecessors. Great leaders strive to do better than their predecessors in every way possible. These are some of the countless things I have learned during my time at Gettysburg College, such as how to be a leader and how to be an effective one and be a fearless one. I will take this proficiency with me in my future endeavor and hope that you all do the same as well as being great minds and world leaders as you go into your future. Thank you.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. The Gospel of the Lord.
Good evening again. I'm not supposed to touch that. So in the 10 or so weeks since I've arrived on campus, I have been so welcomed. You all have opened your offices and meetings and social circles to make me feel a part of the community. Those of you whom I have met have been gracious and kind to me. I've met some outstanding faculty and professional staff. I do want to take a moment to celebrate and thank the support staff members of our community. The only reason why this place runs is because you show up every day. This place will be falling down. We will be overrun with our own waste and dust, starving to death, if you do not show up for us. And so we thank you. As the first non-Lutheran minister to serve as chaplain at Gettysburg College, I know that I am a departure from what is traditional or normative. Since my coming here, I've heard people ask if I was a witch doctor. If I am, hopefully, today, what I say and do here will help us in our great work of healing. But this is what I went to college to study: the art of facilitating public spiritual practice and religion in diverse and changing communities. My standing here preaching to lift your hearts and minds to their highest good is an answer to my calling and a dream coming true. My cousins and I are all first-gen college graduates, and so I also celebrate with my first-gen peers. Just by your sitting here today, you will change the course of history for you and your families in ways you can't imagine. Words will not do justice to express just how proud I am of all of you. Let's clap for them too. One thing that makes our college unique is that our mascot is still a bullet. Now, I identify as a pacifist, so this fact is uncomfortable for me to say the least. However, it is also my practice to bloom where I am planted, and so I mean to embrace it for as long as I have to endure it. So, am I a bullet? Well, until the powers that be say otherwise, yes, I am. But what does one do with a bit of information like that? We are not strangers to school shootings, public massacre, and war with bullets as the method of choice. Our world-renowned history department is a living testament that war, even when declared for the most righteous of causes, is ineffective in the cultivation of peace and civility. Even our beloved Civil War was not enough to settle the issue of slavery or the subsequent colored problem. That nations born of combat and bloodshed will never be liberated until there is an active choice to study war no more. So if we are to be bullets, then we must be responsible and strategic about how we aim and fire. In a manner of speaking, Gettysburg College means to deploy 600 plus new bullets into the world, to take 600 plus new chances to do something beautiful or courageous, 600 plus opportunities to continue the great work. But how? I mean, what good is a bullet without a gun? I have never touched one, and I probably never will. As I previously stated, I am a pacifist, and I'm a preacher, so allow me to activate and mobilize you with my words. I mean to employ the word gun as an acronym. With this word, you will do what every army to ever walk the earth has failed to do. This is my graduation present to you. G is for grit. Say grit. Thank you. Grit, this is your determination and your stick-to-itiveness. This is how you will persist, how you keep going when it looks impossible. The beauty of all of this is that as the class of 2022, you have lots of practice. You have strived academically, you have pressed your intellect, and completed the laundry list of requirements to meet this moment. You have persevered through global pandemic with more variance than a math book. You have stayed focused and engaged with your studies, living through national insurrection and international upheaval. This is your grit, the active decision to keep showing up for yourself. Grit is running until you have to walk, and then walking until you must crawl, but by any means necessary, you will reach your goal. U is for understanding. Say understanding. This is your compassion. This is how well you were able to put yourself in other people's shoes. How deeply do you consider the thoughts and needs of others? Are you able to argue without going below the belt? Do you know when and how to give a genuine apology? When it is your turn to set the table, who do you invite? Do you ever take the opportunity to see things from the other side? Do you affirm and believe in the right of self-determination for every person? What do the words consent and agency mean to you? Do you know when to stop? Do you understand yourself to be a global citizen? When the doors of opportunity open for you, can you hold them open for the one coming behind you? N is for nerve. Say nerve. This is your ability to dare, your desire to be your best self because the world always needs a little bit more of whatever you've got going on. You've made history in this place, history that is captured on plaques and flags, stories that will be told in frat houses and at club meetings, history that will impress underclassmen at future reunions. These are the same stories and many others that you will live, that will be told of you when your body is committed to the ground. Nerve is you showing up every day to take ownership of your existence. Nerve is determining that the right to life is your own. Nerve is the confidence to not care who don't like you. Nerve is what you do after having been told no. Nerve is the plan you come up with just to stunt on your haters. Do you have nerve enough to love yourself to keep growing? Do you have nerve enough to love yourself when it seems like you are the only one who does? Unlike anything ever fashioned by Smith & Wesson, this instrument is not an instrument of war or a killing machine. I mean to give you something deeper and a better control, more power than that. With this GUN, you will do what General Meade and the Union Army wanted to do. What Woodrow Wilson and Eisenhower and all of the Allied forces couldn't do. What George Bush and a coalition of the willing wouldn't do. What we all hoped Barack Obama would do. What Vladimir Putin knows that he cannot do. With this GUN, you will give life. You put this GUN together to make imperialism a thing of the past. This GUN will disrupt occupation so that it can no longer stand. With this GUN, you will subvert tyranny and totalitarianism. You will end the rule of dictators. You will rupture school-to-prison pipelines. Wherever you go in this world, to do the great work that you have been called to do, let this be your tool of choice. In the places you call home, among the people that you call your own, to be continuously transformed by the power of solidarity with this human family. If we are to fight, let us fight for a better, more accountable world. If we are to be in conflict, let us wield this GUN to heal those already beaten and bloodied by the powerful. That our individual right and will to live be the same right and will to live that lets our brothers and sisters live. You can be the bullets who are the bringers of peace. You are the bullets who will foster civility and reconciliation. You are the bullets who can usher in an era of prosperity and opportunity. And you will do this great work, and you will not fire a single shot. Thank you. Won't you pray with me? Dearest friend, thank you for the close of this day. It is a beautiful thing you have done here. It is a blessed place to be, created for us. Let us savor the sweetness of these hours. And the hearts and minds that would lean forward into tomorrow. We have faith that it is your love that will greet us there. Let us depart from this place with song in our heart, found on page 9. Shalom, my friend. Shalom, my friend. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, chaverim. Shalom, chaverim. Shalom, shalom. Share peace, dear friends. Share peace, dear friends. God's peace, God's peace. Won't you stand in body or in spirit with me?
And shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom. Shalom, chaverim, shalom, chaverim, shalom, shalom. Shalom, chaverim, shalom, chaverim, shalom, shalom. Share peace, dear friends, share peace, dear friends, God's peace, God's peace. Share peace, dear friends, share peace, dear friends, God's peace, God's peace. Shalom, my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom. Shalom, my friends, shalom, my friends, shalom, shalom.